Our next guest is a designer, actor, podcaster. The list is endless. The talented Masaba Gupta. Please join us on stage, Masaba. Can we have a huge round of applause?
This is strange to be sitting in front of.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you're used to all the attention now. All over social media, your fashion label, and more importantly, a Netflix show. My first question, how much of that show is the honest truth and how much of it is fictional?
Okay. There's about, I think, 60%, 65% is reality or inspired by reality. And not my reality, but it could be someone else's reality that I know. And I think the rest is fiction. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In my introduction, I said designer, actor. Nandita was with us backstage, and she gave me that introduction. Podcaster. The list is endless. What is Masaba Gupta going to conquer next?
I think I'm done. I will now absorb everything that I've conquered so far and enjoy it. And I've been thinking about this, that it's time to take a step back sometimes and just enjoy what you've created for a little bit. Because knowing me, I know I will be trying to do the next thing. But, the next thing is a Hindi audible series as a superhero. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm trying to conquer like next week. Yeah.
Masaba, it's interesting. You said 60% of the show is reality. It's not a reality show, but when you were approached for the show, it was an interesting mix. The producers told you it's going to be about your life, and there was an interesting algorithmic piece out there because they had seen your Instagram content and found it very interesting. We all do. Everyone follows you over there. You can tell them your handle right now. But either way, Masaba, putting yourself out there and being vulnerable. And I think through the course of that show, my homework told me that you've pretty much done that in both seasons of the show. Is it a genuine challenge, a task to put your life out there the way you do? Your mum's in the show as well. It must be quite an uphill task.
It's funny, but when we were trying to explain to people what this show is about, or is it a documentary, is it fiction, is it a bit of both, I said it's a mockumentary, because I think it's just me and my mum poking fun at ourselves, at everything that's happened with us, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I think that's what life is about. I think if you don't have the ability to laugh at yourself and everything that's happened before you and will happen ahead of you, I think that's trouble. So I think we have a great sense of humor, and you see that in the show. But more importantly, I think when Mom and I decided to do the show, it was very clear that we can feel how we feel about sharing snippets of our personal life or snippets that we want to share with the world. But it's important that the people around us, close friends, family, don't feel cornered, don't feel like they've been shortchanged. So I think we wanted to protect their privacy much more than we wanted to protect ours.
But it's interesting, that relation that we can really see quite clearly in the show. What's it like in real life? Because being raised by a single working mum, where at an iconic Business Today property, Most Powerful Women, I'd imagine there's a lot of inspirations and influence from that sort of upbringing as well.
It's incredible, but I think at a subconscious level, more than anything, it's not like when you're raised by a woman like my mother, who is very charged, very passionate about what she does, but she's also emotional, she's also vulnerable. It's not like she's giving you a TED talk every morning, it's more, you kind of live by example, you live by watching her live her life. And I think the one thing that has been a constant since I was growing up was, you have to work. You have to be the one who puts the food on your table. And I think that is such a powerful lesson for young girls, not to depend on anyone, to be your own primary caregiver. I think it's a very, very powerful lesson. And when you have that, and that independence, which I think is such a loosely used word today, I think the independence is what I've grown up with. Just not to rely on anyone, take good care of myself, and really ask for what I think I deserve. I think that's what I've grown up seeing.
And for a lot of viewers and commentators having a look at your life from the outside, they'd say it was a bed of roses. But actually setting up a label like you did, and the hustle, the struggle, was all real. More importantly, you have overcome a bunch of hurdles there as well. I'd imagine pitching it to investors, going up to boardrooms, telling them what your brand is all about and how you want to conquer the world. It must have been a challenge. You must have faced hurdles as well, Masaba, that most of the audience doesn't know about.
No, absolutely. I think in the past, the one thing that I always have struggled with is that somehow when you walk into a room as a woman, in a room full of suits, as they say, I feel like they think women don't understand the business side of things. I think that they think that we are emotionally too high strung to be able to take a practical decision, for example. But I think that what people perceive to be our weakness, which is the emotional, the vulnerability, just being naive, I think that's also our biggest strength. And I really believe that women are born multitaskers. They're born managers. They have the ability to solve problems at a day-to-day level, and they have a high threshold for pain. I think physically and mentally. I really believe that. So I think I feel like it's just time to believe and say it out to the world that, we deserve an equal seat at the table. I never like to say, I think feminism and the idea of being a feminist has been taken very wrong. I feel like what's happening is you say the male is bad, or he's lower than a woman. But I think it's time to say that we're all equals here. Everyone in this room is an equal, and I think it's time women deserve an equal seat at the table as well.
But more than just a mindset switch or a tweak, there's a lot that society needs to do collectively. Now, you understand the business side of things, the fashion side of things, and now OTT and cinema as well. Where do you see some of those roadblocks, and how do you see us overcoming them? Because it's all well and good in theory, but in practice, how do we genuinely talk about the modern definition of feminism that you're talking about? How do we see that in practice?
That's a tough one, because I feel like we're still a decade away from, being considered equals. But I see a lot of change happening already. I see women walking out of bad marriages because they are finally financially independent. And money is such a powerful thing. Oh my God. I think as a woman, money is a very, very powerful thing. And I mean this in the most positive way possible, that when you don't have to rely on someone else to put food on your table, it is a great power to have. It's a superpower. And immediately the threshold of whatever you're going through, whatever you tolerate, just becomes much, much, much lower, because you have the capability to walk out. But I think the time is the only way that the conversations will change, like you mentioned, be it in OTT or be it in businesses, is when men take the initiative as well. Women have been taking it for a very long time. Women have been asking for what they believe they deserve for a very long time. But I think men need to step up and say, I think you're an equal. I remember I was at a talk once, and this man asked me, he said, why are you women so ruthless in making business decisions? I said, I thought you thought we're emotional. Decide, pick a side, But that's the thing. I feel like with women, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So I think it's time for men to step up and raise their sons and their daughters to believe that it's time to treat women well and better.
Well, a huge round of applause for that one. That's a thought that makes the headlines and is truly inspirational. We have a couple of minutes. Let's make this fun. Put you on the spot. Being a fashion designer or an actor, which would you pick if you could just pick one? The world was coming to an end, you had to pick just one of them.
I'd pick being an entrepreneur.
You're sure you're not a lawyer, right? You had that at the back of your But, no. Okay, moving on. The one thing that you learned from your mum, which is an absolute hidden gem that the audience doesn't know about.
That in life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate.
Mic drop. No, there's more. I'll give you scope for more. One behind-the-scenes moment with Masaba that we don't know about.
The climax of season 1, where we're on a boat and there's a fashion show that's happening on a boat. I don't know how many people have seen it, but models are throwing up. It's a big disaster that actually happened. It actually happened. So we recreated 100% real scene and didn't fictionalize that at all.
When is season 3 coming?
You're going to have to ask Netflix that. I have no idea and I'll get killed for saying anything.
I have a feeling that there will be a few answers in the audience as well. But Masaba, what an absolute pleasure. You're an inspiration to so many, and we can't wait for the body of work that lies ahead with Masaba Gupta. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a lovely audience. A huge round of applause for Masaba.
Thank you everyone.